UiPath has got two design experiences. One is the classic and the other is the modern design experience. As an RPA developer, we should know both the experiences, how to use what. In this playlist, we are covering the classic versus the modern design in a step-by-step manner where we are focusing more on the modern design. In the previous videos of the playlist, we have covered already all of these topics. In case you are absolutely new to modern design and you want to get started, you can refer to the playlist and get started. Today, in this video, we are going to discuss about a new activity of the modern design which is called the for each UI element. We are going to start with something by defining a use case, and then we are going to see how we can utilize this activity and how beneficial is this activity. In case you are coming to the channel for the first time and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the latest videos in this series. Having said that, let's get started. Okay, so let's define our use case. So I am into my browser and I am logged into a website which is called acmetest.uipath.com. So let me go here and I'll click on this button which says work items. Okay, and what would happen, the Acme is going to show me all the work items which are available on the screen. Okay, so let's say today I have a requirement that I want to click on all these search items, or in other words, I want to open all these search items wherever the status is open. Okay, so I can see everywhere it is one open, right? So let's define a additional scenario that I want to click on this button, search button, wherever the type is WI1. Okay, so wherever the status is open and the type is WI1, I simply want to click on this button like this, and this should open the work item for me. Okay, so this can be here, this can be here. Here the status is open but the type is WI2, so I should not go and click on this one, right? So requirement is simple: open the items wherever this is WI1 and the status is open, right? When I say click, it can be any action you can relate. It can be something where you have to tick mark, it can be something where you have to select the check boxes, right? So wherever there is any UI element action which you have to do on such scenarios, you can use this activity. Okay, so before this activity, if you are a developer and you are coming from a little bit of development experience, or you have been using the classic design, what a developer would ideally do to do all of this, right? So the typical approach was to extract all this information, right? So we would use the data scraping feature. We would scrape all this information, put this data into our data table, get the index of all the elements, create a dynamic selector, and then click on this search button, right? That approach used to work, and that is a pretty good approach, and that is what the classic developer used to do. But now when we are in the modern design experience, UiPath has made it very handy and very easy to utilize, right? So just again repeating, in the classic way, what I would have done, I would have extracted all these information from page 1, page 2, page 3 till page 10, put it into a data table. From the data table, I would have filter out, right, that wherever the WI1 and status open, then I would have got, let's say, 5 items, and then I would loop into for each 5 items and then click our dynamic selector and then click on this button, right? So that was the classic approach. Let's now try to see the modern design activity and how does modern is taking care of these scenarios, right? So I hope the use case is clear. So let's go back to UiPath Studio. I'll close the other instance. Okay, so I'll go here and I'll create a new sequence and I'll call this as for each UI element. Okay, by looking at my UiPath Studio, you guys might be now comfortable that this is a modern design experience. Okay, so now I'll go to the activities, and here the activity which we are talking is called the for each UI element, and this is in the UI automation application and for each UI element. Okay, In case you are not able to get this activity, chances are there that you are still in the classic one, so just select the modern and you should get this activity. Okay, so for each UI element I'll just go and I'll drag and drop it here. Okay, now it is saying me indicate the target on the screen. Where is your target, right? So I'll go back here and this is my target. So I'll click on this one which says indicate target on the screen, and the first error, the current activity must be inside a use application / browser. Before using it, place it inside the use application / browser, right? Totally makes sense because we are in the modern design activity. So I'll delete this, go here and use the first activity which is use application / browser. Okay, drag and drop it here, indicate the application to automate, and now I'll point it to the work items. Okay, we have already discussed all of these properties, everything in the previous video, so not spending much time here. Immediately I'll go to activities and now I'll take the for each UI element, which is this guy, drag and drop it here, and now it should work. Okay, now it is saying me indicate the UI element on the browser. Now this is the time you have to indicate it to the element which you want to do that action, right? Check boxes, in our case it is the search item. So I'll go here and I say indicate in the edge, and I'll point it to this button which is called the search button. But if you see here on the pop-up menu, this is the same menu which you might be familiar when we discussed about the extracting of the structured data, right? The look and feel of this wizard is exactly the same as what we discussed in the extraction of the structured data, right? So UiPath is asking me, Mukesh, find me the UI element, add the UI element. When I say UI, user interface. Okay, so I'll click on this button which says add UI element, and then I'll point it to the data or the button whichever we are interested, right? In our case it is this small search button. I click on it and it has automatically extracted all the information for those search button. And here you can see in this one it says I am the current item, right? If this is all good and the pattern is successfully matched, you can simply click on the confirm. If not, you can just add the other element, right? So I'll just go here and I'll say confirm. Now you can see here this is the current item which it has got. You have an option here to click on this button which is the preview, and you can see the preview, but since it is just a button, so that's why it do not have any text. Okay, once you have done this, the other thing here you would notice here is something which is called add label. Now what is a label, right? So when you have to work on this search button, to filter out them or to work upon them, you need some selection criteria, right? Or in other words, you can say that, hey, I need some additional information. So in my case, the additional information is I want to know about the type, and I also want to know about the status. It can be date or it can be anything, right? So I'll go here and I'll say that please add me the label. So I'll go here and I'll say add a label, and I'll point it to this button which is the WI5. I just click on the first element and all the other elements are automatically taken by it, right? Now here you have an option to change this, customize this, right? All of that we have already discussed, so you can check it out here. So I can just go here and I say confirm, right? In case you want additional information, you just go and say add label, and you just point it to this one which is called the status. Okay, and it has got all the status also. I can say confirm. Once all this data is here, I can preview the data, and you can see that this is the current element. Because this is a symbol, that's why it is not coming, but in other case, in case it's a word, it will come, right? So you have the label and you have this label. Now what you can do is, as a developer, you always has an option to go here and you can customize this, which was not available in the classic design, right? And this is my status. Okay, this also option you have. Okay, type status. Now extract data from multiple pages. Is your data spanning across multiple pages, right? Page number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The answer to my question is yes. So I'll just go here and I toggle this option to on. And here you can see that now it is asking me to indicate to the next button. In many scenarios, the next button might not be available directly here. So sometimes the developer might need to scroll down. But now if you scroll down, it might record that action as well. So for that, in the modern design, you have something which is called the stop selection. So as soon as you click on stop selection, it will stop this thing, and you have now all the option to go ahead and start scrolling and all those things, right? You can just go, it's like pausing it. I can go here, I can say extract data from multiple pages, toggle to on, and now I just have to indicate it to the next button, which in our case is this one. Okay, it says selecting the target, and it has got the selector for the next item. Okay, so then once you are done, you just go here and say save and close. Now exactly same concept of the data extraction. In the data extraction, we have to extract the data, and the output was a data table, which then we used to write in an Excel or in a database data table, right? All of that we used to do. But what is different here is, for each UI element, if you go to the properties, okay, you would notice here let me just expand it. Okay, here. So these two, the target and the next button, these are exactly the same thing which you have in the extract data table wizard as well. Then you have these options: limit extraction to lone limit, maximum UI pages or maximum pages. I can say no limit. How many number of items you want to extract? In case you want to limit, you can simply go here and limit these items here, right? So these options are available for you, which are exactly the same as extract data types. Good part about this activity is this one, which is called the configure filter. Now think it as compared to the classic design experience, where the developer would simply go to the website, extract all the data in a data table. Then the developer would write a link queue, the developer would write something which is called a filter data table, do all this manipulation. Here, as soon as I click on this button which says configure the filter, it opens a wizard for me, and you see very intuitive or exactly the same name which I have given while extractions are coming for me. So I don't have to specify column 0, column 1, the name of the columns, right? I have all this information directly available, and that too in a way anybody can understand, right? So I can say where the type, all these things contains, what do you want to check? I think we decided for WI1, okay, and add status contains, let me check what was the status, open, right? So I'll just copy this open and I'll paste it here, right? You can now relate it to your use case. This can be condition, this can be and, this can be or. So I want both the condition to true, so this and this should be true, that only I am want to do this operation, right? So this activity actually now has reduced my work of reading the data into the data table, using the filter data table activity, doing the manipulation, all of that is cut short, right? So you can just manipulate this and you just go here and I say okay. Once that is done, what would happen in your UI element collection, you will get all the UI element which is the user interface element which satisfy this criteria. Okay, so now what you can do here, you can easily go and use a click activity. Okay, so I drag and drop a click activity here, and now click activity is asking you where should I click. Now into the click activity, you simply go to the properties, and here you have the input, right? Ideally in the input you just go and you indicate it on the screen and you get the selector, that selector information you have to pass here, right? However, when you are using this kind of activity, if you go to the variables, you would notice that UiPath has automatically created this current element for you, which is a kind of UI element. So that means that any UI automation activity has that input property, right? So if I go to the properties now, you would see here into the target, there is no target because we did not specify the selector. However, I have something which is called the UI element, which can become an input, and that UI element we can directly pass in this one, which is called the input output element. Input element, if you keep your mouse, it says that provide me the UI element. And where is my UI element? My UI element is in this variable, which is current element type of UI element. So all you have to do is just go to the properties, in the input element type the current element, and that's it. Now what should happen? The automation will run, it will go and it will click on all these buttons one by one, and then you can do the operations, right? And then once you are done, you have to come back to the previous screen, so you need to add a go back, right? So all of that logic is your part of automation, right? So to see that working, I can use an activity which is called highlight, search highlight, and I'll take the UI automation highlight activity. Okay, instead of the click, I simply want the UiPath robot to highlight that activity. If it is able to highlight, it would be able to click as well, right? Now the same concept in the highlight, I'll go to the properties, and what do you want to highlight? I just want to highlight the UI element which was in my current element, right? Now this guy is asking me for how much time you want to highlight, right? So that duration, you can just go here and you can put in this property which is called the duration, and which is here this one, which is by default is 30 seconds, right? You can always go and reduce this time. So let's reduce it to something like 5 seconds, right? We do not want to wait it for 30 seconds. Okay, sorry, that is the timeout, my bad. This is the duration, right? For how much time you want to wait for that activity to highlight, right? So by default the duration is 2 seconds. 2 seconds would be very less, so let me just make it to 4 seconds maybe. And then what color you want to highlight, you can specify the color here. I'll just keep it to something like let's say Indian red. Okay, and then we want to highlight it for 4 seconds, right? This timeout is that what happens in case the activity is not found, right? Common properties. Okay, so this I have set for the highlight. So if everything works well, what should happen? It should go to the browser, extract all the information, select only the one where the WI item is 1 and the status is open, and it will highlight the button. Okay, let's go here and I'll just say run the file. Okay, so the project has started. Let's see this in action, right? So only 2 activities and I was able to iterate the elements. Okay, so here it is, you can see WI item 1, second row highlighted for 4 seconds. Then it is highlighting the 5th one, you could see that in red, right? Now the third last WI1 open, highlighting. Once this page is done, now the automation automatically move to the next page, which is the page number 2, highlighted, right? You might be seeing that this is highlighting all the elements wherever the status is WI1 and the status is opening, right? The third last, right? So which means that now by just using 2 activities, I was able to make this automation, right? Which is pretty awesome, right? I hope you guys understood the concept and you understood the value of this activity, that in case I have to do it in the classic, it would have taken me a lot of work, right? So it will keep continuing. So I'll just go here and I'll stop this, right? So same like we are able to highlight it, it should be able to click it, right? So the people who are looking this and they are a little confused that what is the difference, right? So I'll just go here and I'll show you that as well. I'll take a click activity. Okay, and where do we want to click? I will go to properties and I'll say that just click on this one, current element, right? Now what would happen? The robot will go, it will go to the first page, it will find all the criteria where it is WI1 and open, and it should click on this search button. Okay, so once this search button it will click, it should be on this screen, right? So once it is on this screen, what do you want to do? Maybe you want to update the work items and all those stuffs. That again is your logic, but we'll just ask the automation to go back to this button, which is the work items, right? So I'll just go here, and after this, maybe I'll just ask click activity, and I'm telling the robot that you just go here and you click on this button, which is the work items. Okay, so that way what would happen when it is looking for the next UI element, it will go back to the previous page. Okay, so let me see if I am able to go back. If I click on that work item, yeah, it comes to the previous page. Okay, so to better understand, what I'll do is I'll put a delay. Not recommended, but again we want to understand it, so I am putting it like this. Okay, so I'll go here and I'll say 3 seconds delay I have put here, and 3 second delay I'll put it here, right? So what would happen? The same automation will run. It will click on these items. So first it should click on this one, 983 WI1 and open, and second it should do on this one, which is the 958. Okay, so let's go here and I say run the file, right? We have already tested with the help of hover, but just for the people who might not understand the concept of hover, just trying to explain them with the help of the click as well, right? So the automation started. You would see that first it will click on the first item, which was the 983. Next we told the automation to go back. Now it is clicking on the second one, which is the 9556, came back here and went back, right? Next it will click on the third last, and once all the elements satisfying the criteria is done from this page, then it will go to the next page. You can see at the top the page number is now 2, and the same action will happen for all these elements, right? So here we have not written any code to update the work items and all those processing. All those automation steps you can just invoke in the for each loop, right? And the automation will work smoothly, right? So I hope now this clears your concept. So I'll simply go here and I'll stop this. Okay, I personally like this activity very much. If that is the case for you, just comment down for each UI element, and I would understand that yes, you guys also like this activity. And in case you have any more discussion which you want to have on the same topic, you can just share your thoughts with me in the comments, right? I'll appreciate your feedback on this video, and with that we would like to wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video of the modern design experience. Thank you for watching and happy automation. Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. I would appreciate your feedback on the video, and tell me in the comments what would be the next topic or next video you want to see. So with that, I would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.